Now, you are Lindsay Hargrave.
Yeah.
You are a single lady in her 30s who loves to read a lot.
That is it. That sounds like me.
and I think you also have had a bit of a fancy over the years for buses.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a strange obsession with them.
And you decided to bring the two together, didn't you?
I decided that I wanted to live in a double-decker bus, but that I also wanted to create a book bus, a travelling book bus.
Yeah. Now, that might seem strange to many people, but to you, not to you it wasn't, was it?
To me, it just felt like the natural thing to do.
Yeah. One of the things I think that influenced you was the lack of libraries, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So I grew up going to the library a lot with my grandma and got a lot of fond memories from doing that.
Yeah.
And then the libraries started to close down. They started to lose council funding. So it was kind of on my radar that villages were losing that access to that resource. And then, it just occurred to me that I could create a travelling book bus myself and do my little part to try and fill that gap.
How did you start to put this into motion?
So it was at the end of 2022, I kind of had a bit of a life reflection in general. I thought, I'm in my early 30s. I knew that I didn't really want to get married and have children, but what did I want to do? I needed some kind of focus.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'm gonna get that double-decker bus, because in the back of my mind I'd always had this weird thing that I was gonna live in a bus, and I thought, what is there to stop me? Nothing's stopping me other than the obvious things like finances and skill, any experience in converting a vehicle or anything like that.
What about driving one?
Yeah, no, I hadn't got the licence, no toolbox, literally, but I'd got an idea, and I just started the year of 2023 with that real strong intention that this is going to be my focus. Somehow I'm going to make it happen. I don't know how. And then it was that year that my brother came to me, because I shared a house with him, and said, I'm really sorry, Linz, but I want to sell the house because I want to make things more official with his then girlfriend. He's now married to the girl. But so he thought I was going to be really upset at the idea of putting the house on the market. But for me, that was the first little stage of the plan falling into place, because suddenly it was like, okay, I'm going to be able to release a bit of this equity here, so I will have a bit of money to buy the bus and to start the conversion. So that was when it started to come together.
God moves in mysterious ways, as they say, Lindsay.
Yeah, certainly do. And I'm a massive believer that if you put that intention out there, and don't self-sabotage by overthinking the details. If I'd have been concentrating on, but I'm never going to be able to do it, then it perhaps never would have happened. But I just trusted somehow it will work, and it did. It started to work.
Excellent.
How did it start in terms of getting hold of the bus?
Well, I'm not sure how I ended up on eBay searching for buses, but that is what happened.
Going through all the dinky toys.
Say that, yeah, no, well, that's the thing. Can you imagine if I'd have ordered it and it had turned up and it was just a model? But there was this double-decker bus on eBay, and it was I wanted one that had the middle set of doors so that I could open it to the public through that middle set of doors, and it got those. It was an ex-Metropolitan Police Service bus, so it had never been in public service.
Right.
So it got really low mileage. It was actually already gutted in the sense that there wasn't a load of seats to rip out and things like that. And so, I went for it, and it was all the way up in Glasgow. And I'm in Leicester, so I had to drive to Glasgow and back just to view it, and I took my friend who's a mechanic just to get his kind of like thoughts on it, and decided to go for it, put a deposit down, and then it was a race against time to get my house sold to raise the rest of the money to pay for it and bring it back down to Leicester.
You must have nerves of steel, Lindsay.
Do you know what? I do. I have, but then I also feel like I'm a bit of a kind of a glutton for punishment. Sometimes I think, why can't you just be happy with a normal, simple life? why have you always got to be chasing some kind of crazy idea? But, it's hopefully it inspires other people along the way that if you've got a dream, then you should go for it.
Yeah. Wise words, I think. So the bus came down to Leicester. What did you have to do then?
Well, I mean, I spent the first few months just sitting in the bus, just processing the fact that I now owned a bus, and then it was going to be down to me to put some kind of plan together to get the bus, converted into a livable dwelling.
Yeah.
So I'd say I got it in August, and I would say I didn't really do a lot until the following year. The start of 2023 was when I really got my act together, and my mum came on board. She was super helpful. I like to think that we make a good team because I've got the kind of the big ideas and the courage to go for it, but my mum's a bit more logical, so she can kind of help me when it comes to the finer details. So we did make a really, really good team.
How were your handyman skills at the time?
At the time, they were non-existent. I think in my head, I thought, my brother will help me out, my dad will help me out, my uncle will help me out. But then things happened, and my brother had moved in with his partner, so they were renovating their own house. The same with my dad. He had just moved into a new property, and they'd got lots of work to do, and it quickly became apparent, I'm going to have to get on with this myself if I want to see any progress. But that was probably the best thing that could have happened, because once I started to get stuck in, I realised I actually loved it. I loved kind of solving problems and finding solutions, like, creative ways to get around issues and things like that. And it was hard work. Like, every single job that we embarked on just took so much longer than expected. If there could be a problem, there was a problem. It was very, very testing. But I also gained so much skills-wise from it as well.
And this was to live on the bus, was it? This was to use the bus as your home. The concept of books and bus wasn't born yet.
Well, in my head, I thought I'd love it to be a book bus and to be able to, I knew I was going to live on it. So the upstairs was always going to be like my bedroom and bathroom, living area. I was a private tutor as well, so I needed plenty of storage for my resources and things like that. But then the book bus, I wanted to do it. I just thought, I'm not going to stress myself out. If the project doesn't develop that way and it just becomes a home, then fair enough. But I do really want it to be a book bus that I can take to festivals and drive around the UK and offer this book service.
Yeah.
But I just I started upstairs at the back with the bedroom and just kind of worked my way through the bus. So the actual book bus part didn't develop until the final few months, and then suddenly people could see the vision that I'd held from the start.
Yeah. And there came a point when you started to use TikTok, wasn't there?
Yeah, I initially was loving it, sharing videos, and then I had a video go kind of semi-viral, and I got so many trolls, people saying nasty comments, and at the time my confidence was in the whole project was still quite low myself, so I found that feedback quite hard to deal with, because I felt just as nervous about it. So when people were saying, what stupid idea, it's not going to work for this reason or that reason, I was quite fragile as well. So I was thinking, oh my God, they're right. I am stupid and it's not going to work. So I kind of backed off a little bit, but I actually think that, again, it was a good lesson to learn, because I taught myself to thicken my skin a little bit. Don't take it to heart. People always kind of project from a place of their own fear, so perhaps they'd got their own dream that hadn't come to fruition, and they were kind of taking it out on me a little bit. And then I went back to TikTok and started putting more content out there, and it's actually been really great. I still get the odd kind of nasty comment, but I'm much better at just water off a duck's back kind of thing, and I get loads of support, so that's really nice.
And one of your first involvements was with Van Life, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were great. Because someone that worked on their team saw my TikTok videos and reached out and said, would you like to bring the bus to the festival, and would you like to do a talk in the tent in the arena? So I was like, yeah, brilliant. But then it quickly became apparent that the bus wasn't going to be ready in time, because it wasn't just about making it roadworthy. It was the fact that it needed to be MOT'd and then insured, and logistically there was just too much going on.
And what about your ability to drive it, Lindsay?
Yeah, so I think at that point I had gained the licence, so I had to do separate training for that to get a HGV licence, because it's not a public service vehicle, so the licence is slightly different. So I had got the licence, but the bus itself wasn't going to be ready. So the first year I went just me. I was the only person in a tent, because you're not actually allowed to camp at Van Life Fest in tents, which I didn't realise. So I managed to cause a stir even without my bus. And then the second year was great, because I got to go back with the bus, and there was a few people that had returned, you know, from the year before. So it was really nice to kind of follow through and say, here it is. It wasn't just a pipeline dream. I've actually finished it.
Where did you get the books from?
The books I'd started collecting randomly years and years before, and I'd been stashing them in random cupboards around the house. And I remember making this joke to somebody that if my brother actually looked in the cupboards, he would realise that I'd been stashing all these books. So somewhere the seed was already planted, you know, that one day I was going to have this book bus, because I'd saved them just in case from friends and family, you know, when they were getting rid of books.
Yeah.
I've always had a big collection myself. And then the minute any story like this goes out, I get an influx of people donating them again. So currently I've got about 1,000 across the shelves, and then I've got probably the same again in storage. So I'm doing really well for collecting books. So, you know, more people need to come along and take them.
When you say take them, do you give them away?
Yeah. We at festivals and events, there's like a donations tin if people want to donate, because at the minute it's fully self-funded.
Yeah.
So, you know, the petrol to get to the event, or the diesel, everything's covered by me. And I don't mind. I've got this strange outlook on life where as long as I've got enough for me, then, you know, I just don't see the point in hoarding money. It's like I'm a kind of sharing kind of person.
Yeah.
But then people keep saying, oh, you need a business plan. And I do. I need to make it sustainable somehow moving forward, so that I can continue to offer a free service. So I do need to work out, you know, maybe sponsorship or a book club where you pay a subscription or some kind of income from it. But currently I go to work, I teach, and then I invest all of my wages into this crazy little plan of mine to get the world reading.
I've seen photographs on social media, Lindsay, of the inside of the bus, and with children sitting there reading.
Yeah. So that's been this summer. I've been across to probably about five big main like festival events, and then I've done some more smaller community days as well.
Yeah.
And the bus has gone down an absolute storm. So whether it's been kids or adults, people have found themselves like just hanging out on here, reading, and that. It just brings me so much joy to see it being used like that. I get requests, can you come to this area, can you come to that area? And I'm so up for it. But it's the bit that I need the help with is, where is there somewhere suitable for me to park up? You know, whether that's a village hall or, you know, recreational ground, or like currently I'm in a pub car. I open my doors twice a week from this location, and people come along and use the book swap.
Anyone who wants to follow you on social media, where should they look?
If they search Bus Different, I've got Facebook and Instagram under Bus Different, and then Lindsay ADHD is my TikTok and my YouTube. But if you go to my website, which is differenthumandesign.co.uk, it's got, you know, all the links on there. It's got the information about the bus, the information about my ADHD platform. It's all on there.